My friends, it's your boy Banner, and welcome to another episode of Try Bonsai. Well, today is the day of excitement. Today is a day of challenges. So, as you can see, I have here a Juniper. Now, I'll give you a little backstory on this Juniper in a sec, but just as, and I'm stumbling all over my words, but what I'm going to do with this Juniper today, this is my challenge tree. I am challenging myself today to style this Juniper or change the style that it originally had or do something with it. Either which way, I'm going to do some work on this Juniper today. Right? And as you all know, and I say it repeatedly, these species of trees are my kryptonite. But today is the day that I move past that saying and I approach this particular species with a different mindset, a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at it. Yeah? So, on that note, let me disco. So just giving you a little 360 view of it, starting with the base of it. And you could see there's a very big cut here. And that big cut is attributed to an air layer that I did on this tree. Now, the tree originally was not mine. This was a tree owned by my friend Andel, and he and I had a discussion, and it is now my tree. Now, the original styling of this Juniper was done by our friend Errol, right, who has been teaching us things and stuff throughout our bonsai journeys respectively, And this tree was originally styled by Errol and owned by Andel. The tree is now my own, and the air layer that I took off that was successful died. Yeah, it died. Anywho's, so today what I'm doing, because I've had it and I allowed it to grow, and it was a constant back and forth on how to treat with this tree. Should I take it to Errol so that Errol could clean it up and do work on it? Should I do it myself? It was a lot of back and forth, hem and hoeing. And I am at the stage where, you know what? The hell was with that? I'm going to do it myself. I am going to tackle this piece of material myself. Because at the end of the day, if I expect or if I want to grow, I have to put myself in some challenging positions, dealing with some challenging material, and this is one of them. So we're going to take a look at it, right, and decide what we're going to do with it. What is the style that I'm looking for, or what will be the eventual style of it? Because there are a couple of things that I figure that I want to change, a couple of branches to take off and whatnot. Yeah, so let me get going. So as I look at this tree in depth, what I realized, or what not realized, but the information that I have gathered through YouTube videos and other YouTube artists, including artists within Trinidad, i.e. Errol, Andel, Dion. I've looked at, and I do apologize about the noise, I live in amongst people. Anyways, I've looked at a number of videos where people would have been doing junipers, especially foreign videos. So, for example, I looked at Nigel Saunders, I looked at Heron's Bonsai, I looked at Horton Bonsai, there is Yella's channel, Yella, I can't remember. Then there's the Bonsai Retreat, and there is something that I noticed, and there's things that I knew that I was not putting into practice, right? And I'm taking the time, I'm taking this couple minutes to kind of explain that. What is an obvious thing is that junipers are not indigenous to us here in the Caribbean. These were imported, they grew, yes, we can grow them. They grow differently here to in the northern countries, right? Because of your changes in climate. But because of our temperature and our climate, we only have two climates, wet and dry. And unlike the climate that these trees are accustomed to, which are 4 seasons, where they have a dormant period, and paying attention to the videos, I realized that during the dormant period, when the trees are asleep, that is when you guys do the work on the roots. That is not the same for us. There is no dormant period here. And these trees do not like their roots to be interfered with in any massive kind of way while they're in progress, while they're growing. And one of the mistakes that I've made that I am correcting is that I'm not going to interfere with these roots how I would deal with other roots. No, that is a no-no. Another thing that I've noticed with the differences between your climates, the northern climates, and us here, is that when you are doing work, some people take the opportunity, and I heard Nigel say it, it's not necessarily the practice that when you interfere with the roots, you interfere with the top as well. No, they do one at a time. So you interfere with the roots first, and then you do the top. And the same thing is going to apply in this particular type of situation. So today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to address this great amount of top growth, and then I'm going to leave it alone. And sometime later down in the year, late down in the year, if not possibly next year, is when I will get a pot best suited for this and do a little light scraping around and under the root ball and repot it. More or less doing something of a slip pot. Yeah. So that's just me, passing on the knowledge or the things that I've learned the hard way, because I would have killed quite a few of these trying to exercise bonsai techniques on these trees just as I would with others. So with that said, let me move on. Just to give you a little heads up, I still have not worked out the situation with my microphone as yet, because what is happening is that I have to get a new device to be able to use the microphone, the Bluetooth microphone on my device. I use my phone and I have to get a new device to do that, right? Because it was damaged. The phone fell and it got damaged. So what I'm going to do, and what I understand, is that I'm going to clear some spaces in between the pads, opening space so that sunlight could pass through the piece of material properly and encourage more growth and encourage the pads to get a little more compacted. So there are some things that I'm going to remove and things that I'm going to clip back. Now, I don't know, based on videos that I would have seen, some people pinch, others cut. I will use the cutting method, the clipping method, to prune back some of these extending bits of growth, and I will get in between and remove items, clearing up some of the pads. Apart from that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the varying branches to see how they fall, and if I really and truly want all of these branches, or I could remove to give a little more space to show a bit more character to this piece of material. Yeah, so I'm talking plenty. There we go. So first things first, I'm trying to look at all the little dead bits of material and move out dead bits of material from this piece of thing. And my friends, this is going to take me quite a while because I want to take my time with this. So I estimate that this may be some hours compressed into a half an hour video or something of this sort, right? I am no expert at this where this is concerned, so I will really want to take my time with it. And that's another thing. Nothing wrong with that. Take your time with it. Nothing wrong with that at all. I just have to remind myself of that every single time because I feel as though I have to hustle and I have to move very quickly in what I'm doing because I don't want an overly long video, or don't want, you don't want to bore people. And it's not a matter of boring you, really, because people don't necessarily, some videos people don't necessarily watch all the way out. And that's a reality. The thing is, here what's going on. This is for me, a very delicate piece of work, and it's going to take some time. So what I will do, and you will see it in speed, or I might skip. I'm not sure how we're going to do the editing this time. I'm going to look at each branch, look at how it is, how the pad for each branch is made up, and do selective pruning to kind of open up and provide a bit more space for a better growth. And what I'm also going to do with this is that here is where I am going to practice wiring. I'm going to use some wire on this. So today is not a clip and grow holy and soul day. Today got some wire. Yeah? Alright. So if this is the front of the tree, what is happening is that we have a lot of obstruction happening, blocking off the trunk. Now, if I turn it this way, I don't think this is a good front because it hides a lot. And granted, it could be planted at an angle. I could change the angle to make it a bit more upright, but there is still a lot blocking the front of this trunk line, and I would want to remove some items that is blocking it, because I think this is a pretty decent angle, and I'd have to create some back branching, and there's a lot of dead stuff to move away. A lot of living things and a lot of dead things to move away. Now, if I use this as the front, I don't like this as a front. I don't like this as a front at all. Anyways, let's go. So far, it's about half an hour in, and I've opened up this lower pad a bit. I've opened up this other pad a bit here, and I am going through some stuff on this pad to move on to this. I've removed a branch from here. I removed a branch from here. This was in an awkward space, occupying too much of the trunk line. This I have to contemplate. I'm contemplating whether or not to move this, right, or these two in favor of just this one here. I don't know. I don't know yet. I have to think about it. And I'm going up slowly, slow and steady. Slow and steady. So what will happen when it's time to wire? I want to believe, based on what is happening so far, I'm going to lower this branch just a bit to give a bit of space between the pad, and I have not removed any back budding that I've seen because I want to leave some options open so that in the future, if there is back budding, I could always compress these branches back inside, making it a little tighter, you know. So this is where I am so far as I move slowly and steadily up toward the top. So we go in. Looking at something here, and this is a very big cut that I'm contemplating. When, as the trunk is coming up right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 branches almost around the same spot. Now, what I can do is to lower these branches using this as the apex. But this as the apex, lowering this, using this slimmer one as the apex, bringing this down, bringing this down. Now if I bring this branch, and I'm sorry for the bad word, if I bring this branch down here to occupy this space, then this branch to the back here that you can't barely see. If I move this, as it stands right now, you're seeing the empty space. But if I remove this and I bring this down, kind of to fill the space with these to the bottom here, I think that should be okay. Now if I turn it around to the back and I take this fellow off, I have this man to the back here. So if I remove this guy, I have this guy to the back here. So I'm thinking maybe I could remove this guy here. Ooh. Now the thing is, if I remove it and it don't work out, well, it don't work out, you know. What if I remove it and it doesn't work out? What will happen is that I will have to readjust how I'm going and see what could be done. So there's a little shoot inside here that's coming up. So I'm going to remove this in pieces. So first things first, I'm going to take away these two here. Let me see how that looks. Now it opens up that space quite a bit. Here, so it opens this up nicely. But what is still happening is that I still have a lot of stuff going on in the apex. Now I could leave this and readjust and remove this guy from the apex. And what that will do, these two guys that are coming out at the same spot, and what that will do, it will open up the space and I would have to remove this fella. That's a thought. That is a thought. So what I'm thinking, instead of removing this guy, as I remove these two branches here, it opens up the space. You see these two fellas that are coming out at the same spot? I could take these two fellas out And if I take these two fellas out, it should open up some more space here. So I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove these two guys up here because I still have 1, 2, 3. This will occupy this space. I have another back branch here. So I think this guy, this twin that is coming out here is too much for here. So off it comes. Was that the correct choice? I think so. I think it has opened up a clear space here. Right? It has opened up a very nice clear space here. And as I look at it, you could see some stuff happening. So when I bring this guy down, you would have this here, this guy coming across here. But there's another thing that I'm contemplating. I have 2 branches at this spot here, and I have this one guy here. And if this is the front, I'd have to wheel this guy across, wheel these 2 guys across here. This would occupy the space, and then I have the apex happening. Now, where the apex is concerned, I have this guy shooting straight out, and then these 3 here. I have a little bit much happening up at the apex. So, yet another thing to contemplate, but I ain't reached that far. I think I'm jumping ahead. Let me continue creating some pads using, so far, I'm using clip and grey. I'm using clip so far, right? And I'm creating some bits of dead wood or little sharries as I'm going up, right? To add a bit of character. Never did it before, but today's the day. We're doing a lot today. So we continue on. Alright, my friends, so I am back. I took a little break to go and, as I adjust the camera just a bit, to go and get my son from school and to have a little lunch with him and to do some homework. Yes. So now I'm back at this, and I'm going to continue taking my time and going through the process. Yeah? So, let me go on. Okay, my friends. So, this is where I reach. After hours, as you can see, the sun is going down. Hours of work. As I said, I would have stopped to take lunch, get my son, so forth and so forth. And I am no expert at wiring, but this is where I've reached. So, let me bring you guys in for a better 360 view on what I did. So hold on. So, giving you a look at it from the distance. As you can see, I have attempted to create some layers and to create some pads. And I'm holding this camera in my hand as I go around. I attempted to keep it as 360 as possible, removing any two-dimensional type work. And yeah, now granted, there are some things that could be taken off or whatever the case is, but for a first time styling of a Juniper, my Kryptonite, a first time wiring a tree in such detail, because what I attempted to do is to make sure that all of the wires going in the same direction. As you can see, there is some aluminum wire in there because I ran out of copper, and the copper that I have is too heavy for the branches, so I would have had to use aluminum, which was a bit softer. I am very comfortable with what I did. I took this, I forget what you call it, was on this side, bringing down this branch. So I removed it from there and I put it on this to give a little aid here. And yeah, I could pull down some stuff. There's a little bit of separation to happen here because I want this branch to come down, eventually come down a bit more. So I have a little bit of work to do. I guess then I could use the branch splitter and split it and pull it down. I guess then that is an option, you know. Something that I failed to mention now, considering that the other countries have different climates, one of the things that we could possibly do here for who would have the infrastructure and the financing to do it, you could recreate the dormant period. You know, you buy a special fridge, refrigerator or freezer where you could control the temperature and put the tree inside it and see if that works. I think theoretically, I didn't read this anywhere, my friends, so don't be too harsh, but I'm thinking about it from a common sense standpoint. I think that might work, where you overwinter the tree in a refrigerator where you could control the temperature, bringing it down to just above freezing or below freezing, as the case may be. You know, but anyways, are going on. This is it, my friends. Let me know what you think in the comments about the work that I did, where it started, where it is now. Let me know what you think. And yeah. Yeah. You know, I completely forget to show you what I take off. It's a lot. I took off a lot of stuff. All here. A lot. I took off. Guys, I am very proud of this, you know. I am very, very, very proud of what I've been able to accomplish here today. The next step for this is to get it into a pot in some months' time, put a bit more definition as we go along, and make these bits of shari a bit more prominent. And yeah, one step at a time, one piece at a time. Thank you so very, very much for joining me here on Try Bonsai. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Share. Help me to build this channel. And always remember that our climate is our responsibility. We have an opportunity to change it for the better. If not for ourselves, we do it for the future generations. And I'm going before behind, treat people how you want to be treated. Yeah? Treat people how you want to be treated. So my friends, I'll go see you all soon. Take care. Bye.